16 ancient civilizations that were separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years all stumbled into the same medicine. The Egyptian foremen who built the pyramids, they were paid in silver and in garlic. The Greek Olympians, who were crowned not with gold, but with wild celery, and Persian physicians prescribed a single pomegranate a day for what they called hardening of the vessels. You then had Tibetan monks, 16,000 feet up on a mountain, who were humming, and Venetian sailors ate rocket at sea to stay strong. And for centuries, we filed all of it under folklore. It was charming, but unscientific. And then in 1998, three scientists won the Nobel Prize and revealed that every one of these traditions had been switching on the same exact molecule. So I'm Dr. Philip McMillan, and let me show you a bit about what they found. I've been speaking about this molecule for a while, and it's called nitric oxide. Two atoms, nitrogen and oxygen, and it's about as simple as chemistry can get. In 1998, three scientists, Robert Fergot, Luis Ignario, and Ferid Murad, they were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for discovering that this tiny gas, it's a gas, is one of the master signals in your cardiovascular system because it tells your blood vessels to relax and widen. It will lower your blood pressure, and it helps move oxygen into the tissues that need it. Literally, it's involved in your immune defense, your nerves, and how well you perform when you exercise. Here's the part, however, that stopped me in my tracks as a doctor. You see, your body makes the molecule itself, but the amount you produce tends to fall as you get older. And that very quiet decline sits underneath a lot of what we would shrug off as simply getting on a bit in age, the stiffer arteries, the creeping blood pressure, and the energy that isn't really what it was. So the question that drives this whole series that I'm doing, because it's tied to our book, is a simple one. If your own supply of nitric oxide is fading, how do you support it, or even can you support it? And it turns out the answer was worked out by trial and error long ago, before anybody had a word for it. So think about what these ancient cultures had in common. None of them had a lab. What they had was just time and careful observation across generations. So first, the Egyptians noticed that garlic kept their laborers strong. And so they wrote about it in their Ebers papyrus. Then a medical text from about 1550 BCE, it had more than 20 remedies, a lot of them tied to the heart and circulation. The Greeks noticed that certain plants seemed to keep their athletes, and celery became the victor's crown in the Nemean Games. And so for 2,500 years, historians read this as pure symbolism. And it wasn't. This was science. The yogic practitioners in India, so 400 years even before the Common Era, they documented that you can test on yourself right now. If you breathe in through your nose and you feel calm, breathe through your mouth and you feel agitated. No instruments, just observation, repeated until it became teaching. Every single one of these traditions had found a different doorway to the same room. And the name on that room, we now know, is nitric oxide. So let me make the biology concrete because it really is elegant. There are two main routes that your body will make to create nitric oxide. The first is through the food that you eat, particularly leafy green vegetables like beetroot and rocket, which are rich in a compound called nitrate. And here's a twist most people never quite hear. This nitrate isn't much use until the bacteria living on your tongue, that's in your mouth, they convert it. Because your mouth is a part of the machine, which, as we'll see later when I'm talking about this in the series, is why one of the very ordinary bathroom products can quietly sabotage the whole production of nitrate. The second route is in the lining of your blood vessels themselves, which can be prompted to release nitric oxide directly. And these are by flavonols in cocoa, by sunlight in the skin, even the way you breathe. This is where the humming comes in. So it's two pathways, multiple doorways, and that redundancy is one of the great strengths we have in human biology. There are multiple routes to the same outcome. And it's exactly why no single food is the answer, and why anyone selling you one miracle is overselling it. Now, I'll be straight with you, because this is what we talk about. We talk about the science. Not every ancient remedy holds up, because some of the traditions point to foods that have powerful, well-proven effects, like beetroot and dietary nitrate have serious modern science behind them. However, some of the other things that we talk about, and you probably have heard about, are far thinner. And these are the foods that people will breathlessly promote for nitric oxide, where honestly, the benefit comes from something else entirely. And I'll tell you when that is the case. And here's an important point too. You see, if the food can act like a drug, it can interact like one. So, for example, beetroot, on top of certain blood pressure medication, garlic before surgery, these are these are not reasons for you to be afraid of the food, but they're reasons for you to be informed. And that's the difference between the folklore and the medicine. And it's the line along which this whole series I'm talking about nitric oxide stands. So over the next few videos, I'm going to take you some other real protocols where the ancient instinct and modern evidence actually come together. How to use beetroots, for example, so it works, doing many things. Why your nose humming is a chemical factory. I've done that many times. We even wrote a book on humming heroes about this. What does the sun do that vitamin D can't? And the foods that I've deliberately left hype out of. And all of this is in a new book that we have written with my co-author and brother, John Macmillan, called the NO Secrets. 16 protocols, each one traced from the civilization that found it to the research that explains it. And each chapter closes with a clinical perspective to give you some context as to what this is, how it works, why you have to probably be cautious if you need to be. And we're publishing it soon. If you want to see one of the chapters, click on the link. There will be a free link to it. But we're encouraging you not just to read a chapter. Support us. Support the science. Buy the book. It isn't going to be that expensive. And in the end, you will have secrets that many people don't realize are right in front of them in their grocery, in their supermarket, all around. Remember, like, subscribe, support. We appreciate you, and hopefully you appreciate the science that we're doing.